every week, known as melanin, is a critical factor because it allows you to directly interact and mediate with all known frequencies of the magneto-electric light spectrum. And for those of you who are astute, you recognize that I have reversed the connotation that it is electric, magnetic. The dominance here is magnetic. So this is a magneto-electric light spectrum that we're dealing with in this frequency, not electromagnetic. It's really reversed. And it's important that we have to understand that. It has been our misunderstanding and constantly supported the electric aspect of our energy capabilities that has been so disturbing to this planet. The only reason why we exist is because of the predominant magnetic field. It is the magnetic capability in space that allows the quantum particles to adhere to one another once they actually are stopped in space by coming in contact with consciousness. Quantum particles are stopped in their motion. They're perpetually in motion, but they stop when they come into contact with a conscious field, a thought field. And when that thought field emanates a particular formation, a geometric formation, these particles then will actually stop, and as they continuously collide into one another because they have stopped in this field of consciousness, they adhere. And this adherence is a magnetic phenomenon, which causes them to come together. They grow and they grow and they grow, and voila, what you have is known as matter or mass. Now, these particles, they commit to this phenomena in every frequency of light that we know of. So the collapsing of matter in what is known as the Hertzian frequency, or our radio frequency, or the frequency that causes us to be dense as we are, is, for the most part, how we understand reality to be. But there is the condensation and the collapsing of quantum particles in infrared, in visual light spectrum, in the ultraviolet blue spectrum, and obviously there is complete realities there. We have been hardwired to be able to access and interact with the realities, the quantum particles that are collapsing in each of those frequencies. And that hardwiring system is known as the microtubule or carbial system that makes literally a skeletal-like system in every cell in your body. Now, obviously, the more melanin you have, because it will be revealed to you, for those who are not aware and for the scientists who do know this already, pigment that exists in living organisms. As a matter of fact, all pigments are the physical manifestation of light. So most of us just think that light is something that perhaps just comes out of the sky or zooms through a light bulb or LED emitting apparatus, the TV set, or whatever. It does have a physical form, a condensed physical form known as melanin. Now, whether that is of the chlorophyll nature or lycopene, because all of these different pigments, as they have a dense physical body, still exhibit the frequencies of light that they have collapsed in their most dense physical form. So when you're actually looking, for example, at the plant pigments, the purples, the blues, the reds, you are looking at that frequency of light in its physical manifestation. It is the pigment that has now given that frequency of light a physical capability, three-dimensional capability. And so we know that when all of the spectrums of light are together, it appears as though there's no light. Why? Because they are actually absorbed into themselves. And so there's nothing that is actually being emitted that our retinas, that our eyes can see. So it appears to be black. So blackness is full of light, but the light is basically being held into itself. It's not being emitted. So when we can see different colors, that means that that particular frequency of wavelength of quantum particles vibrating at the speed of light is what we are seeing. Melanin is this quality. And so we know for a fact that those individuals who are hardwired with navy blue black melanin definitely have the capabilities of interacting with all forms of identifiable light. It is embedded in their tissues. And the individuals who are melanin recessive are still hardwired, but the amount that circuitry can transmit is still relative to the amount of melanin pigments that they have, which can be increased at will. This is very, very important. This show is dedicated to advancing the awareness of humanity to understand that the condition that their physicality, their body may be in at any particular moment in time can be changed and transformed relative to what the individual desires and what the environment. The individual goes out in the sun, the body demands more melanin to be able to capture the light. It helps to increase circulation. It helps to basically stabilize and allow the precipitation and the organization of minerals in the body. It also causes our mitochondria to be able to store more energy. The mitochondria, and that's a little cute battery. That's the name of the little batteries that are in every cell of the body to be able to store more free energy. So the key is that sunlight will stimulate all of these different phenomena in the body to become more active, and to the extent that the individual in their consciousness has allowed the body to perform, the body does its best. When it appears as though there's a limitation that occurs, individuals say that, oh, I can't tan, I turn red like a lobster, or my skin burns. The limitation is only in the body because the individual has accepted the limitation as opposed to allowing the body and demanding that the body change its state. This is totally possible, and it is going to become necessary. And I have said over and over again that it's much easier for us to change than for us to go outside of ourselves and try to build all of these different structures and phenomena to support a characteristic that we do not really desire. So, I was involved at one point in my career in looking at the plans of cities and the projections that they had created for themselves. And many of the cities have projected themselves to be domed so that they can control the weather themselves and be able to dictate how much UVB, ultraviolet blue frequency wavelengths, and the type of wavelengths that can come through the dome. And this was done for many reasons, but of course it was alleged that this was going to allow us to remain healthy and not have many of the diseases that we are afflicted with, allegedly, because we cannot control our environment. That is not a true statement. We have always been able to control the environment. The problem has been we did not recognize the dials that are built in within our physical body that synchronize and dictate what the weather will be. And one of the main, quote, dials, just for you to grasp what I'm saying, is the modulation of frequencies from the brain. It is known that the emanations, the modulations of frequencies from the brain can be totally disturbing and devastating to an environment, as well as being totally soothing, reconstructive, and transforming to an environment. And most of us intuit that. We know that we can go into a room and a person can be in there and we just are like, wow, these vibrations here are extremely uncomfortable. I pick up hostility, I pick up anger, deep sadness, etc., and nothing was ever said because the brain is a transmitter and a receiver. And when you have large groups of people that are transmitting perceptions on a very intense basis, they can change the weather over themselves in a matter of minutes. Yes, we can. This is the kind of power we have. The physical body is an ultimate machine. It is an ultimate creation that has so many capabilities, and we are still like little children struggling to understand. But in our inability to understand, we have created great upheavals on this planet, and there's only a couple of solutions. So the movie, The Day the Planet Stood Still, their solution was getting rid of the humans. That is one of the quickest solutions to all the upheaval that's happening on the planet, because this planet has a relationship with other planets and other solar systems. Now, of course, I'm not for that choice, and I'm sure neither are you. But now that means then that if you know that you can look around and see what the humans have done, paper, trash, total negligence of the ley lines and the organization of mass on Earth in relationship to bodies of water, mountains, locations of minerals that have totally been ignored for economic reasons, which has been done by humans. Now we can begin to see how much damage we've done to the planet. And obviously the question is, will we learn so that we can stop, or are we still very much promoted and motivated to continue irregardless of what